Rajendran, I'm going to come back to you now, and I'm just I apologize, but I'd like you to repeat some of that data from the hunger survey. Very stark statistics. I'm reading from the text part that you had sent me. 53% reported that consumption of rice and wheat had decreased. 64% reported that consumption of dal had decreased. 73% reported that their consumption of green vegetables had decreased. And then you go on to, of course, detail that across different states, which may have been worst hit. And then I also noted that there was a chart on the share of people who had to take on debt to sort of fund food consumption. Very, very stark statistics.
Yeah, I think before we look at the nutrition, this particular statistic, I think I want to highlight one important fact is about the consumption expenditure survey, which is the pre-pandemic situation. So that should also give us a sense of comparison of how things were before the lockdown happened and how it has worsened since the lockdown. So if you look at the consumption expenditure survey the last consumption expenditure survey was not released, but as per the leaked consumption expenditure survey, and if you rank the rural population from the poorest to the richest in groups of 10, in deciles, what you'll see is that the consumption has gone down in every decile of the population, which means throughout there is a uniformly people in rural India have become poorer because they are not able to consume as much. So that's the background in which the lockdown happened. Now, since lockdown, if you can go back to the statistics, you'll see that the situation is extremely grim in the sense that about 73% reported that the consumption of green vegetables has decreased, and for about 38%, it's decreased a lot. And similarly, just to quote a few more numbers, 64% reported that the consumption of dal has decreased, of which about 28% reported that it's decreased a lot. Now, these are, again, what happens is when the poor get affected, the first thing is they will compromise on the quality of food, because that's the quality of nutritious food, I mean. So obviously the first cut would be on, okay, I'm going to stop eating fruits, I'm going to stop eating green vegetables. So that's the first thing that gets a cut. Then they're going to say, okay, fine, now I've cut down. So with my limited resources, what else can I cut? So constantly the thing on their mind is, what do I cut? So fruits and vegetables are out. Eggs and meat automatically go out because they are more expensive. Milk consumption goes out. So what remains is your rice and dal. These are the main basic food grains. So thanks to the public distribution system, at least the consumption of rice and dal is not as low as, let's say, consumption. It has not decreased as much as the consumption of green vegetables, eggs, meat, milk, etc. And about 45% of them have reported that they had to borrow money for food, which is again a very grim thing to think about. Borrow money on a daily basis, and a significant proportion of them also had to go to bed without eating a meal. And that's again something, as in these are all pointing towards massive some kind of starvation or hunger, if you will. And again, as I said, the nutrition quality is more than 70%. So about 3 out of 4 people are saying that their quality and the quantity of food consumption has gone down. Now, if you combine this with the recent NFHS data that's come out, where child nutrition, where it talks about how the child malnutrition has been stagnant from 2015 till 2020. So we have entered a time when child malnutrition was already low, consumption was already very low, because since 2011 to 2018, it had gone down. There was a 9% decrease in the monthly per capita consumption expenditure. And now lockdown happened, April, May, complete decimation of wages. And subsequently in October, you see further lowering of nutrition and quality of food. So what is really scary is that we are looking at an extremely stunted society going forward, unless active policy measures are taken into consideration. Now, just to add one last point quickly, is that under the Pradhan Mantri's Garib Kalyan Yojana, there was provision extra rice, and there was a provision for extra rice for the ration card beneficiaries till the month of November, and that has been discontinued. What the Hunger Watch data reveals is that there is a need for that to continue for a longer period of time, because most people continue to have, there's been a massive loss of livelihoods and lack of food intake. So that needs to continue. And one last point I'll quickly make is the fact that even now migrant workers are not covered under the PDS, because many of them don't carry their ration cards where they are. And as per estimates by Jean Dreyes, Ritika Khera, and Meghna Mungikar, what we saw is that 100 million people who are eligible to be ration card beneficiaries, they are out of the ambit of the PDS right now. So many people, so this is the time to universalize PDS and not be constrained and cut.
If I could just stay with you, Rajendran, on what is being discussed as the potential policy prescription for this. It is essentially in the nature of expanding PDS.
I would say it's important to universalize. So as Amit mentioned about the Urban Employment Guarantee Program as well, that it's make it universal in the sense that if anyone can go to a ration shop and access food grains, people on this panel, you, me, Arjun, and Amit, will not go there and get ration. So the most needy will self-select and go and get ration. And as per data from the Food Corporation of India, the granaries are full. So we have, and this is before the harvest season. So post-harvest, we envision that there is much more food grains available in the FCI godowns that can actually, if universalized, the sense is that the top 15%, the top 15 richest households in the country would say opt out of getting rations from the PDS. So the bottom 85% of the population, we should give them free rice, grains, and dal, etc., so that they can go and access it. So one of the things is, when we say universalize, we mean make it open to everyone. And again, as the Mint article indicated today, is that there's a significant, I think about 50%, I'm forgetting the numbers, but 50% of the wealth is, a significant proportion of the wealth is held by the top 10% of the country. So they're obviously going to opt out and not take rations from PDS.